We're in my car and I had a bit of time, so I thought, how about I answer some of the questions from you guys? So that's what we're gonna do. Really good question came from Deviousness, and he's asking about how to maintain nice stereo field and all that stuff. First of all, the mono compatibility is pretty much a myth these days because people listen to music mostly on stereo. So you don't really need to worry about it that much. But of course, because it's a stigma, then people tend to think about it. Just look at it like this. You have a bass and you want to make your track feel a little bit more fuller. Well, then there is this amazing free tool called Bassline that you put on your bassline. You just, boost it a little bit and the whole thing will just feel way wider without sacrificing the mono. The other tool I like to use would be the Ozone Imager 11 or Ozone Imager 2. The 2 is for free. What you want to do, you want to stereoize the signal. Well, how I do it in the paid version, I basically mono everything above certain frequency, 120 to 250 hertz, depending on how it's going to sound. Important thing is that you don't want the needle to go below 0. You want it to go up. The mono sound will stay +1 all the time because it's mono. But as soon as you have that split into 2 and you boost the other one, turn on the stereoize, and suddenly your bass becomes like super wide. If you're using the free version, you can put like a utility or whatever. You can use EQ just to cut out all the sides from below 200 hertz and you're good to go. The next is actually pretty destructive to mono signal. You can use it to make anything stereo because the signal will just go from left and right in like different times, so it feels like it's stereo because of that little delay. It could be a few milliseconds, even 2 milliseconds can make a huge stereo. But when you play it in mono, then it tends to disappear. What I do usually, for example, when I have a clap and I want it to be like super wide, I will have 2 layers. The one will be just in the center, so you have that hit, and then I use Haas effect on the tail, so you get that beautiful white sound. Then a good rule of thumb would be try to keep everything below 120 in mono. But I know that producers go up to like 400 or even 500 hertz as well, especially in melodic techno, because that mono just makes it way tougher on the low end, and melodic techno is pretty empty. If you listen to guys like Anima, for example, you will hear that the bass line is stereo. It just doesn't care. It's just there and it sounds good. If it sounds good, it's good, so don't go crazy about it and just make it easy for yourself. As for the leads, many people think they need to widen up like the most of the high end, but from my experience, if you widen up somewhere between 400 to 1200 hertz, your leads will just sound way better on a large sound system. That would be my take on that. Operculum Audio is asking why delay after reverb. It was in this video there. Check it out. It's about legendary plugs and how to recreate them. This is a good one. I usually do it the opposite way, but it doesn't hurt when it's the other way around. I first put the delay and the reverb because it just sounds nice when you have that reverb on the delay, but when you put reverb first and then the delay, it tends to smear a little bit. That's what I like about it. I prefer either or the other, depending on the situation. So like a full stack of leads and I want to add a little bit of delay, then for sure I'm going for delay first and then the reverb. But also recently I've been doing it the other way around, where I add the reverb first and then I add the delay, because I also use a compressor to make sure that the transients go first. So the delay picks up more of the transient. Like it always goes after the more dominant sound for some reason. You can test it out when you play like a vocal and you want to have it like super delayed. You will hear that some frequencies get introduced further depending on where you set your EQ on your delay. It doesn't really matter. Just don't go too crazy about it. It's just a sound. And when it sounds good, it's good. Like, I think that's going to be a theme of this video. Raymond Lesiak, really good question. How to layer up leads with the vocals so they both sound really great. This is something that I struggled with in the past as well. And then I figured out like the simplest way that you can do. It's using FabFilter Pro Q3 or 4 or anything else that is capable of individualized sidechain using like EQ and input signal and dynamics. Well, it's pretty simple. In your leads play, the frequencies, they go up from 100 hertz to 20,000, especially with saw leads. Well, first of all, you have to think about the leads. The leads are stereo, right? Vocal is my favorite sentence because you have one mouth, it's mono. So the majority of the vocal is always in mono. So I put on the FabFilter Pro Q3 on my leads. Then I set a sidechain to be coming from the vocal. So what's gonna happen, you're gonna see the signal coming from the vocals into the leads. First, I'm gonna check where those leads are overlapping. That's going to be number one. So you will see those red stripes. That's where you make your little points, and you set them all to be just in the middle or mono. And you set the dynamics to about 1 to 3 dB, and then you turn on the sidechain. Suddenly your vocals will pop through the mix very, very nice. So what you're gonna hear and see is that the midsection of your leads, the mono part, is gonna duck down when the vocals play. Well, my wife just called me and I have to go pick her up at the doctor's, so we're gonna finish this at home. So we had a quick stop because she needs to drop off something. While she's doing that, I'm running a remix contest. Remix contest for my track that I created during How to Make Trance Like a Pro course. And you can join in. The deadline for the remix is 27th of July. Check out readyformasterclass.com, join the remix contest, make the best remix possible, and can't wait for your submissions. Now let's get back to all the questions. How are you? Everything okay, baby? You're beautiful. Okay, so we're back home in the studio. So the other way I really like to use the FabFilter for this is actually using the spectral mode lately, because you can use the sidechain for it as well. And that gives you like full control and finds the frequencies that resonates. And the resonating frequencies are usually the most dominant ones. So it sees that and it's just going to duck it down. And I tested it out, it works pretty flawlessly. I know that you guys like to use things like Track Spacer or Neutron, Unmask, and similar plugins like this. The only problem is that it always takes the full stereo signal with the mono signal. With vocals, if you want to get that clarity, it's much better to use just a mono. If you can't separate it, then don't use it. One bonus trick would be that when your leads start to play, just put them down by half or 1 dB. Yes, my little helper. Yes, put them down by half or 1 dB, and that would be, just enough to get it sound right in the mix. And I guess that's all for this video. And if you guys have any questions that you think they need answering, feel free to comment and I will do more of these videos later if you like them. And if you're still looking for some more answers to your questions, I recommend using this video. And because you made it this far, this video is actually hidden, nobody can see it. So check it out, watch it, you're gonna learn a lot, trust me. And of course, if you want to learn more about music production, check out this playlist. That's where all the good stuff is. Thank you very much and see you soon. Ciao.